if you also look into the meaning of yoga asana, it's really like a seat of awareness. So like in everything that you do, in every step that you take, every action, like how is your awareness and how is your presence? Some kids are very energetic, but some kids are also really more like internal. Really see like, okay, where are they? And really play along with them.
Vanakkam, Namaste, and hello everyone. Welcome to the 82nd episode of Inside the Minds of Great Yogis. In today's episode, we have a very special guest, Tamara, who is joining us all the way from the Netherlands. Tamara Van Well is a yoga teacher based in the Netherlands. She has a background in youth care, and she has worked over 10 years together with children with special needs, including trauma, autism, ADHD, as well as their parents. The urge to share the value of yoga deepened after experiencing a burnout. Her body was very clear. You need to take rest. And so the study of yoga philosophy brought balance in her way of viewing life. Now, for over 10 years, Tamara is sharing her love of yoga on the mat and off the mat. Her mission is to bring awareness in how we can integrate yoga as a way of life, bringing yoga philosophy into practice in life itself. She has guided more than 50 yoga retreats in Greece, India, and the Netherlands, and she has a heart for conducting deepening workshops, events, and brings yoga into the corporate world as well. It is a pleasure to welcome Tamara on the Inside the Minds of Great Yogis podcast. So let's give a big round of applause and welcome Tamara.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you so much for joining me on the show, Tamara. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. Thank you so much. How about you?
I'm doing really good. I'm super excited to hear about your journey of yoga. So I think we can get started. And the first question that I have for you is, how did your journey with yoga begin?
Well, actually, my journey started off a little bit for having an inner calling to travel to Tibet. It started kind of after reading the book, 7 Years in Tibet, and the way the people are living there really intrigued me. So I was really curious and really felt that calling. So I traveled to Tibet in 2011. And the moment that I set foot on Tibetan ground, it was really like feeling like coming home. I really felt really emotional and was really like, what is this special place? And there I visited many monasteries and nunneries, and it really hit me that sense of feeling that was there, a special feeling. And since then, I actually started having more interest in the Buddhist way of living. And it so happened that I started teaching mindfulness for children and rolling from there also actually more to the yoga philosophy side. And I started following yoga classes myself. And yeah, that's kind of how it rolled. Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you for sharing a little bit about how your journey with yoga began. And now I'd like to come into the next question. So I believe you worked with children with trauma, autism, and ADHD for over 10 years. So I'm curious, what unique challenges did you see with them? Did you see them face, and how did yoga help them along the way?
Yeah. Many actually like, of course, it's all their uniqueness that is there. Every child is very unique and has their own, yeah, unique challenges also that they are facing. But the overall challenge, I think that they really all face is that they mostly were misunderstood. So that actually their behavior got worse with people that just simply didn't understand and really saw them for who they are and really only saw the behavior that was coming out, but not looking beyond that behavior that was acting out. And I think in that way, yoga is inviting you as a person to be very present and to be very observant also. And if you put that in place, your presence with these children that have faced quite a bit of challenges in their lives, they actually really start to feel seen because you're just simply there and kind of starting to play along with them. So whatever their interest is, step into that. And yeah, that's really what like really got to my heart is that yeah, so many children not even had they don't even have to have ADHD or but many behavioral sides are really really many times misunderstood and it's really like they us adults are really focusing upon that and how to regulate those emotions. We need to regulate everything. Everything needs to be fixed in certain boxes and not looking further than that. Like, okay, what's actually the root of this behavior and how can we put that connection in place? And that's really where yoga kicks in. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that, as well as painting the picture a bit more. It really helped. I'm going to come into the next question that I have for you, which is basically a follow-up of the second question. But I was wondering, many people think of yoga as stillness, as you've mentioned, but children with special needs have a lot of energy going on, right? So, how do you adapt yoga to meet them, like meet where they are?
Yeah, yeah, and it's actually what you are saying in the question is actually what you are doing. Meet where they are. So yeah, yoga is many times, yeah, their connection is there, like stilling the mind, and but that comes at such a later stage. If you are quite evolved in the yoga path, then maybe someday it might come. But but it's actually like if you also look into the meaning of yoga asana, it's really like a seat of awareness. So like in everything that you do, in every step that you take, every action, like how is your awareness and how is your presence? So if you look into that from that side, it's just really meeting them where they are, like in the energy that they have. Some kids are very energetic, but some kids are also really more like internal. um, so really see like, okay, where are they? And really play along with them. Yeah? Like life is one big playground, you can say. Many times we are taking it a little bit too seriously. So, but if you really see it in that way and see their play and really connect and step into their play, walking like a bear, like if the energy is very high, like grounding, placing the feet firm on the ground or standing like an elephant or like these kind of ways you're kind of like transforming their energies into like what they actually might need. And many times children that are more internal, they actually need more like okay more movement, but like subtle movements and to really allow themselves to express again. So yeah, you kind of improvise, and that also asks a lot of presence from you as a teacher or a guidance or wherever you are while working with children. So yeah, I don't know if that exactly gives the answer to your question, but yeah.
Firstly, I think you've answered my question very well. I definitely love what you have said and what you have shared with us there. And I really love how you mentioned, to kind of, I'm putting this in a different view, but from what I've understood, like from going in their shoes and also kind of playing along with them and seeing what they're going through, and then regulate it sort of together. I think that's really beautiful. So you're able to both understand what the child is going through, but also you're able to kind of also regulate the symptoms sort of together. So I think that's really beautiful there. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah,
And
most.
and the next question that I have for you is, how has the study of yoga philosophy influenced your perspective on challenges, both personally as well as in your work with families?
Yeah, I think where the yoga philosophy, I'm more diving into the yoga philosophy lately. Because it's funny that many times with yoga, it's so physically orientated. It's such a pity, actually. So it was just like a small spark that I knew about the philosophy, and now I'm getting more and more into it. And really, it's really an integration into life itself for me now, in like all aspects, you can say. And um, how it has changed is more having more resilience when life is suffering. If you say, Sarvandukam is like a famous saying, like everything in life is suffering, but how do we encounter whatever comes our way? That's our choice. So, in that way, yoga philosophy really, really is a guide for me in that way to constantly remind myself, like, okay, like, but how do I face this challenge that I'm encountering? Am I adding more suffering to it? To like repeat a certain thought or story about it, or putting like identifications to it? Or do I observe it just the way it is and see like, okay, this isn't an experience. What does it have to teach me in this moment? What can I learn from it? And this is actually also how what I bring along with families, like, and in coaching in general. That everything is already inside of us. It's just like kind of covered up with all conditioning and all impressions that we have had along the way in our lives, in whatever we have come across to. But how can we uncover those identities and the thoughts and ideas that we have about ourselves or others? How can we kind of peel off those layers again and come back to our source of power that's already inside of us, that source of resilience? And from there, from that empowerment, actually, like kind of stepping into life again and in a more, open, loving kind of way. And it's not that we want to downgrade all the difficulties that we have, but really kind of embracing them, like, okay, as teachers. So everything that we encounter, all the experiences are our teachers. And if you see that from that side, life becomes more, full and rich in that way. So yeah, that's kind of what yoga philosophy so far has taught me. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that there, and a little bit about your perspective on yoga philosophy. So now I have some rapid fire questions for you. And so we're going to move on to some rapid fire questions. And the first question that I have for you is, what's a small daily ritual that keeps you connected to yoga off the mat?
That is definitely reading one sutra a day. Yes.
I
Yeah.
love that. Thank you for sharing that. And the next question I have for you is, burnout taught you the power of rest. So I'm curious, what's your favorite way to recharge now?
Recharging as a mother of a 4.5-year-old is kind of challenging. And that's also where yoga philosophy kind of kicks in. It's in everything that you do, yoga. So being more present and being a present mother, or being present with whatever I do, that really brings back the recharge, instead of thinking like, oh, I need to do all of this, and this is pulling me and this is pulling me. No, I'm doing whatever I'm doing with devotion. So
Yes,
I'm there. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that there. And I really loved when you said, you're doing it with devotion. I think that's really beautiful. So thank you for sharing that there. And the final question I have for you is if parents listening could try one mindful practice with their kids or children today, what would you suggest?
I would definitely suggest to when you bring them to bed to really be there, lie next to them, and just simply listen. Because that's really the moment that they really process the day and everything, and the stories that you then hear, and the connection that you then at that moment get. It's, yeah, that's just such a blessing. And that's really giving like that mindful presence with each other and that connection with each other that really brings also back further in the day-to-day life, that connection that you have at that moment. So I really think like that bedtime moment is very precious. Yeah.
Absolutely. And as you've kind of mentioned, I think it's also a very mindful moment between the child as well as the parent because they are both bonding and connecting, even whether that be through, storytelling as well. I think it's just such a beautiful way that the child and the parent gets to bond. And I love how you also mentioned it's important to listen as well. So, the parents also get an idea of the child's perspective and how their day went, etc. So, thank you for sharing that there. And that is the end of our questions. So, Tamara, thank you so much for joining me on the 82nd episode of Inside the Minds of Great Yogis. It has been a pleasure having you on the show, and I really loved hearing your responses on yoga, as well as your philosophy with yoga. I think it was really beautiful there. And I hope we're able to do this again. I'd love to meet and do this, hopefully in Amsterdam.
Yeah, so that would be wonderful. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah,
Really.
thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you for joining me. And thank you to everyone else who's yet to listen to our 82nd episode of Inside the Minds of Great Yogis. And until next time, I hope everyone has a great day. And thank you so much for joining me, Tamara. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank